Hey folks, welcome to Dragonfly Projects. Today we are inside of the Christmas tree farm. We're going to talk about shearing and pruning. Basically we have two choices. Manual shearing, which gives you a lot more control, and mechanical shearing, which is a lot faster and you can cut bigger stems and branches. Full disclaimer, this is my first year attempting to do this. We are now early September, which for the Eastern Ontario region is probably just outside the window for optimal shearing time, because you want to shear during growth season so that the tree will rebuild what you've cut off, so that the next season, instead of forking out, it'll get bushier and thicker and fuller to have a nicer look to it. Because now is the only time I've been able to... Oh, hey buddy. Neighbor's dog is here. Hey buddy. Where was I? Right now, all I want to do is practice for next shearing season, which will be next summer. So what I've decided to do is use trees that I will probably never end up selling, just because they have some defects to them. For example, this one has codominant trunks. So it's not your typical beautiful straight one trunk Christmas tree. The only upside I can think about codominant trunks is if you're not sure if you want to put an angel or a star on top, then why not both? In this case, the nice trees in the farm that will be sold as Christmas trees, I won't touch them. The ones that have a nice shape to them, I'll let them be until the actual proper shearing season next year. And I'll just practice on the ones that I'll probably never end up selling just because of shape, defects, size, or disease. I'll also talk about pruning. In this case, it's going to be basal pruning. One, it makes it easier to get in there with the tractor and the mower and the brush cutter, just to remove all the weeds, because I don't want anything competing with the growth of the tree. And also, you need a certain height for the foot of the tree when you put it inside of a stand, when you're going to put it inside of your living room to hold your tree in place. Before we shear, I'll bring you guys in a little closer and we'll take a look at what is considered the new growth and what we want to try to strive for when shearing. I'm not sure how well the camera is going to pick up the color difference, but you can see there's a whirl here where at the end of last season, this was the last branch, and this growing season, these new growth forked out. Now, if you look on this one here, you can see where next year these ones would fork out. So the lighter colored one is new growth from this growing season. The darker, stiffer, the lighter color, stiffer wood is from last year's growing season or previous year's growing seasons. So our goal is to chop into the new growth, and instead of having go outside, you want it to fork out and fill up more, so we can get rid of these cavities to make for a fuller Christmas tree. Another thing we want to make sure is that these are codominant trunks, and you want to make sure that there's only one leader that's going to go up. So you don't want it to fork into another branch or another fork, because you want a single continuous trunk to try and keep that nice shape. So you want to make sure you get rid of the weaker leaders, so you only have the one dominant leader. You can see here on this one, we have two leaders side by side because there's a fork here. So you'd want to get rid of one of them to make sure you have the one leader for next growing season. So I'll be displaying first the metal blade. This is a 24-inch blade with a wooden handle. As you can see, this is called a pine shaper, so it's made for this. It's a very thin carbon steel blade. And the trick is, number one, don't hit yourself with it. You want to try to give the tree its cone-like shape and do nice big sweeping motions, making sure not to hit yourself, because this will slice, I imagine it'll slice through your skin fairly easily. They do recommend, if you're unsure, to use some type of leg protection, If I was to actually do the shearing and not just do a demonstration, I would probably wear my chainsaw chaps. Just make sure everything's okay. But basically you want to get in there, find your line, and then just start slicing into the new growth in one big motion, and just go around the tree as you're doing it. This obviously has a hard time cutting into thicker branches. You want to make sure that you keep your shape and you don't hit yourself. Surprisingly, I wasn't expecting that, but it's a very good form workout. Holding on to the blade and making sure you don't let go. So we'll try a couple different things. We'll try a couple different trees. I'll try with the metal blade or with the hedge trimmer, and I'll see what gives me the best results next year. Because again, this is a tree that I have no intentions of selling. So all the ones that I would get rid of anyways, they'll be my practice trees. Now I'm getting into some thicker stuff and it's not as effective. Trying to give it that nice cone shape, and then once you're happy with the shape, I'll come back and I'll prune probably the equivalent of the first 2 feet, give or take. Now obviously this has, like I said already, co-dominant trunks, so there's 2 of them. So it's not going to look great, but it's not too bad. I can see now from here that this side can be shaped a little better. Not bad for a first try. Okay, let's find a different tree and let's try the hedge trimmer. This tree would have been perfect to try the hedge trimmer, but I just realized somebody's renting. I have a butterfly friend in the process of becoming a butterfly. So we'll leave him alone. We'll find a different one. A nice monarch butterfly. All right, we'll leave this one alone also. Let's find a different one. Found another tree, co-dominant, has 2 trunks, this one and that one. It used to have a renter. It used to have one, but butterfly has now flown away. So that's good news. I like the shape of that one already, so I don't think it's going to need much shaping. But we'll see how well it works with the hedge trimmer. So I borrowed this hedge trimmer to see how well I like it before making the investment. It idles a bit rough, but it works fairly well. different. I wouldn't say it's faster necessarily. And this is a lot heavier than the hand blade, but it works differently. The thing I didn't like about this one is sometimes you get caught where the branch would hang for a second, then flop back. And I guess I was cutting maybe a bit more, a bit less than I wanted sometimes. It seems down to up is the easiest for this one versus the blade, where obviously down from top to bottom is how you slice. This cuts really well. I personally feel that the first time you shear and give the general shape, this is where the hedge trimmer would be handy. And then for any touch-ups for consecutive years, then that's when the blade would work better. I guess I'll keep an eye on this tree and we'll see. I'll do a couple more here off camera. And then we'll take a look next summer what happens during growing season. If they firm up, if they get fuller. There's a couple spots here that have holes, and I want to see how it reacts to the shearing. The only thing is, it might not be the best time-wise. It is, according to one of the books, I'm past the growing season. According to another one, I'm just at the tail end of the growing season. The red pines do still have some new growth coming out. I have not noticed the firs and spruce growing as much recently. All I can say is this is the third time I've cleaned everything up now, mowed the grass, kept the weeds down, and they have definitely grown a lot this year compared to last year, where I was only able to start mowing halfway through the growing season because we took possession in early July, and I only got the lawn tractor I think early August. Same with the brush cutter on the tractor. So that was the hedge trimmer. Thank you so much for watching, folks. A bit of a shorter video on this one. I will go back out there in the next couple of days, try different techniques, different methods, different shapes, get a feel for it on shearing the trees. I'll try to mark the ones I've sheared and which ones I've sheared with what. So which technique, was it the hedge trimmer or the knife, to see next year what it looks like, what kind of growth it gets. If I've damaged them too much, maybe I went a bit too far, maybe that should have stayed only in the new growth. I know you're only supposed to start shearing once your tree hits 3 years of age, give or take, or at least the third year is in the ground on your tree farm. And then from there, it's every year or every 2 years, depending on the type of tree. From what I understand, the spruces need a bit more trimming than the firs, because naturally the firs have a more conical Christmas tree shape than the spruces. You're also trying to get the tree to fill up its branches to look fluffier, more full, more well-rounded, so you don't have those giant gaps that you can see the trunk inside. But it just sounds like practice makes perfect. The more you do, the better you get at it. And the more practice you get, the more natural it will be, and it becomes second nature at some point. And I imagine and I hope I'll develop the eye for the shape and how to best get the results that we're looking for. So that's it for me for this video. Thank you so much for watching. It means a lot to me. There are more things coming in the pipes for the Christmas tree farm. It'll probably take a backseat activity-wide to grow the Christmas tree farm, because we're getting into fall, and soon enough we'll be out here picking our Christmas tree for with friends and family, and that for sure is my favorite time of year, when Christmas is just around the corner and we start to get to pick the Christmas trees. If you've liked this video, please hit that like button, subscribe, it helps us out a ton. If you have any comments, suggestions, or remarks, please leave them down below. I will try to get through them. Sometimes you guys have some great suggestions that really helps me out, so by all means do comment. It does help out. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.